Resident Evil 4 in 2024, insider information regarding tons of new Resident Evil games in development, and a voice actor potentially hinting at what's to come in Resident Evil. We've got a lot to cover. Let's first address the confirmed news this past week, as we got confirmation from Capcom that Resident Evil 4 Remake will be getting another release this year in 2024, as part of the Resident Evil 4 Gold Edition. Seldom have we received gold editions of Resident Evil games less than a year after launch, but hey, seeing as Resident Evil 4 Remake is Capcom's fastest selling Resident Evil to date, why not release this edition while the iron is still hot, right? Are you all tired of Resident Evil 4 yet? Me neither, but give us Resident Evil 9 already. This edition will be launching on the PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam on February 9th this month. This edition will be including the base game, Ada's meaty Separate Ways DLC, and the extra DLC pack, which was exclusive for the deluxe edition of Resident Evil 4 when the game released, which contains the following items: the casual and romantic costumes for both Leon and Ashley, along with Leon's hero and villain costumes and filters, Leon's sporty sunglasses accessory, the Sentinel 9 and Skull Shaker deluxe weapons, and the original version soundtrack swap. All of this DLC will be included in the Gold Edition, but this will exclude the weapon ticket upgrades that debuted with the free Mercenaries Mode DLC and an Unlock All option that was a commonplace in past Resident Evil Gold Editions that essentially unlocked all the best weapons and accessories at the start of the game. With no current price point of the Gold Edition at the time of this publication, I guess this is the best we're going to see this game retail for until likely the end of the year. These Gold Editions typically retail around $30 to $40 at launch, and with Ada's $10 DLC bundled with a traditionally $60 game, this may be something that players who haven't yet bought and played Resident Evil 4 Remake may want to look into. Resident Evil 4 Remake was a fantastic revisit to this iconic fourth numbered installment in the franchise, but I wouldn't be alone if I wanted to move on to the next Resident Evil game now, would I? There have been a lot of recent developments happening regarding the future of Resident Evil, with knowledge from Capcom years ago that production on Resident Evil 9 was underway, to the 4chan leaks regarding a supposed Code Veronica remake, to Capcom themselves publicly stating this past December that more Resident Evil remakes are going to be coming. There's clearly a lot going on with Resident Evil, and the following information from longtime series insider with a pretty good track record suggests that there truly is a lot going on with Resident Evil. Now, if you're not a fan of speculation, then this isn't the video for you. If, however, you are curious about the insider information and previous leaks that may resurface, you will definitely find value here. Over on Twitter, Aesthetic Gamer, also known as Dusk Golem, recently revealed that there are 5 Resident Evil games being developed, with one of them being Resident Evil 9. Grain of salt, folks. Actually, how about heaping grains of salt, as none of this has been confirmed by Capcom. But considering Dusk Golem's relatively good track record of accurately announcing these developments, this can be interpreted as a good sign. We already know that Capcom have been hard at work making Resident Evil 9, of which we are more than likely going to hear about later this year with a release date sometime next year, just going by the frequency of how the recent mainline Resident Evil games have been released. And in addition to that, we know that Capcom is committed to making more Resident Evil remakes, but 5 Resident Evil games? This is making me think of the massive Capcom leaks that happened back in 2020, where a dozen games were leaked, with 4 of them being Resident Evil titles. Let's first go over these games to see if some of these titles have a shot of being included in the current assortment of Resident Evil games currently in development over at Capcom. From this list of games that were leaked during Capcom's data breach in 2020, we see that there are 4 games from the Resident Evil franchise that were leaked. Of the 4, one of them, being Resident Evil 4 Remake, released last year in 2023, and Resident Evil Apocalypse is widely considered to be the 9th Resident Evil game, which fans are predicting will be announced later this year with a 2025 release date. The 2 Resident Evil games that we have heard very little about as far as leaks and rumors concern Resident Evil Outrage and Resident Evil HUNK. Let's get into those 2. Resident Evil Outrage was rumored to be many things, with insiders changing their tune on the game the further into 2020 we got, and well, we haven't heard anything about the game ever since the leaks, and many are now wondering if the title was outright cancelled. Early rumors had the game be a timed Switch exclusive title that serves as Revelations 3 in everything but name, as the title of the game was said to be changed to Resident Evil Outbreak. Dusk Golem, the insider who leaked with impressive detail Resident Evil Village before it was announced, revealed as such, only to find as the months turned to years that development on Outrage was either postponed indefinitely or was ultimately cancelled. About what the game was rumored to be? Well, it was said to star returning character Rebecca Chambers, who served a prominent role in both Resident Evil 1 and 0, searching for a cure for a virus that infects people with an uncontrollable rage. Others within the Resident Evil community claimed that Outrage was going to be yet another attempt by Capcom to create a multiplayer Resident Evil game. If only Capcom knew that simply remaking Resident Evil Outbreak would be the winning ticket for that one. But let me know what your thoughts are on these rumors surrounding Resident Evil Outrage, and if you think this Revelations 3 or multiplayer game is still in development. Returning to the 2020 leaks, the only Resident Evil game left to discuss is Resident Evil HUNK, and well, what's more to say about this one? Definitely sounds like this game is slated to be a game surrounding HUNK, one of the most pivotal characters in all of Resident Evil, who played a big role in the Raccoon City incident and debuted in Resident Evil 2. A game about HUNK would definitely be compelling, but his brevity in the series is also one of the reasons why this legendary Umbrella Security Service Alpha Team commander is so popular. Regardless, we can't go wrong with more HUNK. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you think we'll see this game get the light of day. So far, we've looked at 3 games that could comprise of the 5 rumored Resident Evil games that Capcom could be working on, with Resident Evil Apocalypse, also known as Resident Evil 9, Resident Evil Outrage, and Resident Evil HUNK. We also know that Capcom is committed to remaking more Resident Evil games, with Resident Evil Code Veronica having been potentially leaked on 4chan this past December. Definitely questionable about this leak, so consult this video I did of the details that were leaked about Code Veronica Remake in this card, but say it turns out to be true, then there's one game left unaccounted for. As to what that is, I have absolutely no idea. Potentially another game, perhaps a remake, to be released in 2026, in time for Resident Evil's 30th anniversary maybe? I made a video about that too, which you can watch here. In line with the possible remakes Capcom may be working on, Craig Bernatowski, the voice actor for Albert Wesker in the recent Separate Ways DLC for Resident Evil 4 Remake, claimed that he is working on a new game. While extremely vague, we do know that his role as Albert Wesker could imply that Capcom is indeed hard at work on the next remake of Resident Evil, which many fans, myself included, presume could be anything from Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil Code Veronica, or a Resident Evil 1 remake. Heck, even 0. Thing is, Wesker is in all those games, so it is pretty likely that Craig is hinting at either one of these Resident Evil games to serve as the next remake in the series. This, of course, assumes that the voice actor isn't referring to work he has going on with other games, but you get the point. With all that said, what are your thoughts on all these developments for the next several Resident Evil games? Are you more interested in seeing Resident Evil 9 released before the next remake? Definitely let me know in the comments. Check out this video for what I believe we'll see for the next Resident Evil remakes. And I will see all you good people real soon in the next one.